Start ancient Greece today. What did you guys cover yesterday? China? China? Persia? Alright. And India. Alright, well today we're just doing Greece real quick. So you saw the learning goal. Which was the learning goal for today? Sparta. Alright. So ancient Greece, it's classical civilizations. Here we go. Greece developed on the Balkan Peninsula. If you go there today, it's like, let's get all these up for you. It's like Greece, Albania, those are all up there. Approximately 1700 BCE to 1500 BCE.
I have one.
Greece was not a huge empire. It was actually many city-states because they couldn't unite because of all the mountains in the region. It made it really hard. So there were similar cultures. Like if you went to Athens or Sparta, they'd eat the same food, might speak the same language, but by the way. If you go there, you couldn't tell. You could tell there's a lot of differences between the two. Let's see. Is there one more? Yeah. See, many city-states often warring against each other, so they were all enemies, pretty much. And then they all shared a common Greek language and culture, but like I said, if you went there to Athens or Sparta, you could tell the difference when you were in two different places. Let's see. You guys good?
Yep.
All right. Governments of the Greeks. Modern government is attributed to the Greeks, specifically to the city-states or polis of Athens. So Athens was one of the first places in the world, to have a democracy. We see it as a limited democracy because if you weren't a rich man, if you were a woman, or poor, you weren't be able to vote. So in those days, it was really free compared to what it is now today. See, wealthy and educated males could vote, women and slaves were excluded. So limited democracy. So what we see as limited, they saw as very free.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not switching. I'm not going anywhere. We good?
Yep.
Everybody? All right. So the rest of the governments, like Sparta, which was completely different from Athens, had what they called an oligarchy, where few and wealthy elites ruled. Sparta, as many of you guys know if you've seen the movie 300, is the main enemy of Athens. Many were monarchs, where the leaders were hereditary kings passed down through the family. And then the rest were tyrants, in which power was taken by force, so like a government overthrow.
Wait.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not switching.
I thought you were switching.
No. So when you think of Sparta, when you think of Sparta, you want to think of military strength and oligarchy. And when you think of Athens, you want to think of democracy and ideas. Good?
Yep.
All right, Greek philosophers. One of the ancient Greeks' biggest contributions to modern society is philosophy, or systems through to solve problems through a rational argument. Many Western traditions can be traced to ancient Greek and developed of philosophy and scientific thought. Who knows what this is right down here? Who's done the Pythagorean theorem? Just one? 2, 3? Yeah, so you've all done it. That was from Pythagoras, or I can't say his name. But he was from Greece, and so they've been using that for a long time. Greek philosophers sought to answer what the world was made of, what is reality and truth, what is reason and knowledge, and debated ethics, what is right and wrong. In essence, they no longer accepted the answer of God's made it so, and providing a scientific method for problem solving. So instead of people just being like, oh, Zeus is mad on top of Mount Olympus and starts throwing down lightning, they thought they wanted to think there was an actual reason for it, not just the gods on top of the mountain. And then all of you guys have done the scientific method in science before, right? And then these are some of the famous philosophers. I don't know as much as Mr. Dimitri does about these philosophers. Basically, Socrates was the first. did the Socratic method where he would go around and like, you know, like Mr. Dimitri or some of your other teachers ask you questions that you might not think you know the answer to, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I do know the answer. That's the Socratic method where you keep asking questions and pushing people. And really the people in Greece did not like him doing that because it angered the people and got them wanting to change the government. So he was eventually made to commit suicide to make him drink a potion and dies. Plato was one of his students. Disagreed with him in a couple of ways. And then Aristotle was Plato's student, and he disagreed with Plato in the same way too. So Plato and Aristotle both developed schools like rival schools at the same time. So it would be like Michigan State thing, where one student would go to Aristotle's school and one student would go to Plato's, and they really had different ideologies, even though Aristotle was a student of Plato at one time. And then we'll move to Greek culture and the Romans. Greek culture was spread through the ancient world by conquest of Alexander the Great, known as the Hellenistic Age. So, yeah. Eventually, Greece culture was assimilated by the Romans when the empire rose and conquered the Greeks around 145 BCE. So, remember how you guys talked about the Silk Road yesterday? And how ideas spread through trade and everything like that? Well, ideas can also spread through conquest, like Alexander the Great going and taking over all of these different areas and then spreading the ideas and cultures